In today's video, we're going to be making scrap plywood coasters, along with a little coaster holder to keep them all together. If you're new here, please take a moment and like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification icon so that way you get notified of all of our newest videos. Let's get to the build. The first thing we're going to do is cut down our plywood into little strips. You don't have to have strips for this to get started, but you do need to cut down into strips. And now we're just going to assemble the plywood so it has a nice grain pattern for each of the coasters. And just set those aside and we'll go ahead and mark which ones are which. Your strips basically want to look something like this. Now, kind of like a cutting board, we're just going to go ahead and glue each of the strips on the sides. And just make sure we've got a lot of glue. Then just flatten them out, press them together, and you're good. Now, it's a good idea to come along and make sure that they're all nice and flat, so that way you've got a good even start to work with. This will help you out a little bit on having to trim down anything in the end. And then of course, clamps, clamps, clamps. Never can have enough. Just get a nice, good hard squeeze on those clamps. You want some squeeze out. Then we're going to do a little bit of sanding, and then we're going to cut down the different pieces. So this way each coaster comes out to 4 inches by 4 inches. Now they're all done sanding and cutting down, we're just going to go ahead and slap some veneer on the side. This is actual wood veneer, not the plastic stuff, so this is stainable. And just make sure you get that on there really good. And make sure it's cool to the touch before you try to trim it. That's really, really important. You don't want to have gaps. Once it's nice and cool, we're going to take our veneer trimmer and just trim off the sides there. Just make sure you take a moment to make sure you're being super accurate. And just trim all the way down. Now that all that's done, we're going to go ahead and do some staining on these, just to give them a nice effect. Great little optional idea if you're wanting to make them look a little higher end. However, they look pretty cool just on their own, to be honest with you. Then we're going to put the little sides on our holder here and glue those down. We scuffed up the sides a little bit to make sure that they can stick to the stain. That actually worked out pretty well. We did wind up adding in some pin nails later on to make sure that they stayed in place though. And now for some poly. Oil-based polyurethane is probably the best thing for this because it gives it a nice gloss, and it also will clean up with just a simple water wipe down on them. And after having these for about a year, because it took us about a year to do this video, believe it or not, they still look exactly the same as they do right here. So we're just going to go ahead and take all of our coasters out and get ready to go and put some feet on them. The feet don't have to be anything fancy. A lot of people do cork. We actually wound up going and putting little rubber bumpers so we could cover up our tack nails. And also to keep them from sliding around. This is kind of what the coasters look like after they're all done. So I'll just flip all these things around and start putting the little stick-on rubber feet on the bottom. We're going to put them on the coaster holder to make sure it doesn't slide around, and then we'll go and put it on the other coasters to make sure that they also don't slide around. And then we're just going to go ahead and slide those back in. Just make sure everything still fits. And definitely looks like everything's fitting in there real nice and snug. And there we go. That's the finished product. Nice, simple, easy, and quick. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more awesome woodworking content. Thanks again.